Welcome to the Yoked Podcast, where we talk about all things entrepreneurship, real estate, and partnerships. I'm your host, Travis Hall, alongside my co-host and wife, Ingrid. Together, we've been in real estate for nearly 2 decades, always as an equally yoked husband and wife team.
Join us each week as we bring you a new episode. And as always, be sure to like, subscribe, follow along, and welcome to this week's episode of
the Yoked Podcast. All right, welcome to the show, everybody. I'm so excited. Today, I have a good friend, Don Woolfolk. What's up, Don?
What's up, Travis? How's it going?
It's going good. Don is a great buddy of mine. We've done several things together, deal-wise, real estate-wise. He's starting to build his empire over the past, 4 years, really, since you really got going. But going back further, I met you at church. Red Rocks Church is where our story began. You were this super strong dude serving coffee, and I was like, I got to know this guy. You and your daughter.
I remember that.
Right. And we went, the first place we hung out was Woody's Wood-Fired Pizza in Golden, where it all started.
You're right. First time I went there. Yeah, I remember that. That's cool.
So a little intro on Don and why everybody should listen to you. First of all, you have an amazing wife, married recently, another little beautiful daughter, and a daughter about to graduate high school. But you are an entrepreneur. You have started in the real estate space recently and really just dove head first. So you still have work at W-2, super successful at what you do now. Definitely a great job. You've moved up the corporate ladder, so to speak. I'll let you kind of elaborate on that. But now you're in the real estate space, like as am I. You are interested in flips. You've done multiple of them in the past year. Not just doing one, you just dove in, which has been impressive. And I know you and Lynette, your beautiful bride, have talked about expanding into different things. She supports whatever you can dream up. So you are in the space, and you have a renovation company now, home renovation.
I do.
As well. Yeah. So what did I mention anything about you and your bio?
I'm on 5'9". No, I'm just playing. No. I like to do dad jokes, so that's one thing in my bio.
6'3".
Exactly. No, that's my whole bio. I mean, I've had a ton of W-2 jobs. I'm currently working as a senior data developer for a large company. And yeah, I love looking at dabbling in real estate and trying new things. I'm always constantly trying to get my hands dirty in some type of way.
Right. Absolutely. I love it. So we'll dive in. Obviously, this is the Yoked Podcast, where we talk a lot about business and partnerships and endeavors and kind of what are you yoked to in that world, whether it's strength and you're just jacked, which you are, financial yoked and you're just, rocking the finances, or, where Ingrid and I come in is more of like this biblical principle of being yoked together, or yoked to something. Whether are you equally yoked and you're going, you're sprinting together full speed, or you pulling you down. So, the first question that I have for you is really just about your story. Being that you are an entrepreneur, I would love to know, has that always been a part of who you are? Is that you were born with it? Parents are entrepreneurs. You were like, there's no other way, or all of a sudden it's like, wow, it just clicked. Tell us about you and kind of how you arrived to the Don 2025 version of you.
Oof, that's a pretty loaded question.
It is.
As my mind thinks back to all the things, I was like, well, I've kind of been a W-2 earner my whole life, but then I realized that wasn't correct. Speaking with my mom recently, I realized that I've been an entrepreneur since I was a kid. We had weekly chores where we get paid a small allowance at the end of the week. And I remember going to my mom, probably when I was around 10 years old, and I said, hey, Mom, if I get all my siblings to do all their chores all week, can I get an extra $20? Now, the funny thing about this, they were already going to do their chores. So, and I really didn't say anything much more to them, just to make sure that they did them. And I found creative ways to motivate them to get it done. And they didn't know until we were older, out of the house. And I said, hey, yeah, my mom used to give me $20 extra a week just for getting you guys to do your chores. So that's kind of where it started. And I remember looking out the window when I was a kid in the car, and I would see a tree, and I'm like, man, that tree could become a a table or a chair or a house or things like that. And I remember looking at my mom, I was like, I don't want to build all those things, but I definitely want to be over to people who do that. And I just remember always having this outside the box mindset. And I had the opportunity to do different things through school, whether it be the Career Education Center, where I ran my own little business. There I had to wear a suit and tie every Wednesday, which kind of made me nerdy on Wednesdays, but I also played varsity football. So I had a balance, you know. I was in chess club as well as starting varsity football and running track. So going back to entrepreneurship, I always had this burning desire inside of myself to, every time I got to a company, it was kind of like I was always looking at the next step. So I would be in a company one day and I'm like, man, if I was a manager here, I would do this. Or if I was running this company, I would do that. Kind of reminds me of this movie with Michael J. Fox, Secret to My Success, where he climbs up the ladder. Anyways, that's for a different time. But spinning ahead, I kind of got trapped into the W-2 world. And then where the journey actually, the rubber hit the road, after my failed attempt to sell clone on the streets, sell vacuums door to door, those didn't last long.
Rainbow?
Yep. Yeah, I answered an ad in the newspaper at the time. We looked at newspapers, and you can be a manager. Oh, you can run your own company. Oh, cool, I'll do that. It was too good to be true, for sure.
For sure.
So speeding all the way up, how I got into entrepreneurship as far as real estate actually came out of a tragic moment, or a moment that, an altering moment, I'll say. I was working at a company as a sales engineer, crushing it. I mean, I was like second place in sales, doing things like that. And I was pretty much a rookie, but I was off of pure raw talent. I was like understanding the customer's needs. I was selling things, working really well with the account managers, things like that. And they had layoffs. And it wasn't by rank or your sales or anything like that. They just laid off 75% of us, which is like a pretty large number. So I was disappointed. I came home, I had to tell my wife. Same day she told me she was pregnant, I was like, oh my goodness, this is crazy.
It's an altering day for sure.
It was. I remember us going to a comedy event that same night. And for the next couple of weeks, I had like severance pay and stuff like that. Next couple of weeks, I would find myself at a cryo chamber. I went to golfing all the time. I went to a stretch zone. And I was just picking up random things off of Instagram, like, oh, you can do a free trial here, free trial there. Not looking for a job at all. Then when I got a couple of job opportunities, I was like, before I take any job opportunity, I'm going to try real estate. I've been looking at it ever since Carlton Sheets back in 1990s.
Carlton Sheets, the tapes.
Tapes. And yeah, the little DVDs and tapes. Yes, I remember those. And then I remember calling you up and asked for some information about hard money lenders. And I was watching some videos on YouTube. And I remember May 11th of 2023, I signed up. I started an LLC. My EIN number. Then it was off and running from there. And yeah, the rest is history.
That's awesome. I love that. I didn't know part of that story. That's cool. Or if I did, I forgot. I love that. All right. Well, let's talk about some deal specific things, because I think people love that, and it's fun to. And I know more than most, obviously, with you and some of your wins and misses, we'll say, learnings. But let's chat a little bit about a miss or a learning that you've had, a failure. I'd say failure, but I mean, you and I both know, like, the ones where you're missing, like, or you feel like it's in the immediate, it feels like you're failing, but that's when you learn a ton. And so for the audience, like, give us an example of something, whether it's real estate or just entrepreneurship, where you just missed and you learned from it.
Well, that's like a daily occurrence. Like, even throughout the story of me getting into entrepreneurship, there was like extreme highs and extreme lows. I'm motivated. I'm getting opportunity. I have like this letter now. I can go buy any house that I want to, with the caveat of it being in the 70% of ARV. I was like, oh, wow, that's free money. So I'm going to go out there and just look at all these houses. And I remember the first house I looked at, and it was a hoarder house in Brighton. Yeah, I didn't have a vision for that one. I didn't bid on that one.
You
And I
called me
still
after that
keep
one.
track of all.
I remember
I
talking
still
about
keep.
that one.
Oh yeah, I remember a train. Like we were talking, I was talking to the wholesaler, and a train literally was right behind me, and the house was like probably 10 yards, and the train was probably 100 yards away from me. I'm like, what is this? Yeah, it was.
Because God just driving on the train saying, "No, don't do that."
Yeah, and I remember they started bidding, and I was like, oh no, I was just coming to look. I don't even know what's going on. It
So
was like, what's
amazing.
your number? I was like, oh, I have no number.
Yeah.
But like I was saying, just I started looking at tons of houses, and I was like so eager, and at the same time, like I said, I stream highs, stream lows. The baby that my wife was expecting, like she lost that, and I had to start a new job, and I went back to the old job that I had right before I went to sales, and it was kind of like soul crushing. And I was like, no, I don't want to be here. I don't want to be here. But talked to the wife, she was like, no, just go ahead and do this, which kind of prevented me from failure. She like made it okay that I went back and did that, so that way we can have, consistent income. So anyways, hopping into the jobs, hopping into the houses, the first place I got was a condo. And in that condo, it was a straightforward deal. I bought it for a low amount. I'm going to sell it for a high amount. These people don't know what they're expecting in this area. They're about to get the best place ever. And yeah, we made it look great. And it was at a decent price point. The first thing they say all the time is what? Location, location, location. I didn't even think about the location at the time. I was just stoked that we took this house this condo that was in terrible shape, and now we're going to give it to the world. Here you go, world. Enjoy this house, this condo. And, yeah, it took a long time to sell. I remember you had to come in and kind of like, the 11th hour, help us, you and Ingrid, get over the finish line. So, that started off the failure, but I kind of like at the same time, was super stoked and excited. So the biggest, I would call it learning / failure was, just not doing it sooner. That's about it.
Yeah, I get that. Well, and you have a very optimistic outlook on life, as do I. And so those failures, like, yes, in the moment, it was a swing and maybe not a full miss, but you didn't get on first, right? And so, but the next time you were up to bat, like you'd seen that picture before and you made it happen, like it didn't stop you from moving forward. It really just like it kind of prodded you to move forward faster.
Oh, this is how confident I was, Travis. Like once I finished the condo, and I wasn't not even to the sell point. I'm saying like finished in the sense of the renovation was completed. I went ahead and bought 2 more houses at the same time. And not just any 2 houses, but a 130-year-old house, and then a more middle of the road house in Lakewood. And I remember being like, nah, this was so easy. I could do these things too. And I did my little deal calculator, and I was like, look at the numbers. I was like, man, I could definitely do this. In a matter of 6 months? Oh, I can renovate a 130-year-old house and at the same time, simultaneously, another home way on the other side of town. I could do that easily. I've been doing this for 6 months? I'm good.
You got it.
Yeah.
I think we should do another one of these episodes where we deep dive into one of those properties. Maybe both, but for sure bad. But we'll keep that for another one. But it would be fun to do like maybe like a deep dive specific episode where we talk about it. Because Ward was a great one. It was a solid. Lots of learnings, but it was a great deal. So I normally ask about your wins, but that is a win, and I want to actually pivot and go off script a little bit and talk about your wife and your marriage and partnerships. Because, like myself with Ingrid, I have this amazing partner, both as my wife, but also as my business partner in all of my endeavors, not just alongside of me, but sprinting next to me and pushing me forward, and I'm pushing her forward, and she's equally invested. And so I know, Lynette, you guys have a unique relationship where it's similar, and she fully supports all the entrepreneurship that you're doing, and all the endeavors, and is alongside with you. I mean, she was there on her hands and knees scrubbing the floor of Bayard multiple times. So, I mean, she's doing it with you and is fully supportive. So let's just kind of talk about that and like how it's been having a spouse that fully supports you in what you're doing.
Oh yeah, none of this really happens without the help of my wife, Lynette. I mean, where do I start? Just the fact that she continually pushes me to seek the things that she knows that is on my heart, even if she doesn't understand it, even if she doesn't see, even if she doesn't see the full picture. I could say 100% she's been, nudged me on by my side. And actually, if you take it from a biblical standpoint, being everything that the Bible talks about a wife being to her husband, even when at times she is the more successful person when it comes to straight up dollars and cents, or straight up like accomplishments she's had in life, she's a
baller. You did great.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Yeah. She helps us get approved a lot quicker than, let's just say that. Yeah. Which I didn't know. A funny little story is that I didn't know her financial picture until I became an entrepreneur, until I decided to do home renovations. We kind of kept things separate. I didn't ask. I earn my money, spend it. She earn her money, spend it. We bought the house. We bought the current house we live in now, but under her name, I still had another house at the same time that I was selling. But I didn't know the full picture. It was kind of like, I was blinded by love. I told you, I was like, hey, this is what I want. And then I got quiet. I met this young lady. She was, through the apps, and then we connected, had the same vision. And I mean, it was a matter of months. I would say less than a year. We got married and have a beautiful daughter, have two daughters, and just enjoying life. And I would say, like, even saying that she has my back, I would also say she's very honest. So if she sees the house, like I remember I can't take her all the time to houses. Reason why, when I'm first looking at houses, because I'm a dreamer. I'm like, oh man, look at this, look at that. And she's like, we should bulldoze this thing down.
Can't see the vision.
Doesn't see the vision all the time, but when she does, like on Ward, when she saw Ward, she was like, this is the one. So when she sees that, or even if she has some questions, she'll hesitate for a second, but then she goes right at me and tells me the truth. But we constantly communicate, talk. We had a walk today. We used to spend about a half an hour walking around, just, starts off slow, and then we just start expressing how we feel and how we think and not just like the mushy stuff, but I'm talking about serious, hey, what do we see ourselves doing in 2025 as a business? Hey, she's constantly asking me hey, we're going to buy another house, or you're going to buy a business, or you're going to do something. I want you to feel comfortable to do something. So I was like, yeah, let's do it. So yeah, rambling on. My wife is just super awesome, and
she is. Shout out to Lynette.
Yeah,
she's awesome. All right, let's keep going. So, the audience that listens to this is, a lot of them are starting out, or maybe they're early on in their entrepreneur journey. So if you were talking to yourself 10 years ago, 10 years ago, whenever you want, what advice would you tell yourself?
Just do it. Even if you don't know what you're doing, even if you have to ask a lot of questions, even if I would just figure out a way and ask myself, how do I start today? What do I need to do? And then just go for it and do it. And the reason why I say that mentality is because I feel like for me, Don, 5 years ago, 10, 20 years ago, analysis by paralysis, I constantly would do that at times. And then I would say I've been blessed over the last 5 years just to, allow myself to dream and to visualize things look bigger and better than I am. And everything will be kind of summed up in this one Quick little story. I remember going on a camping trip with some friends, and we were going down the Colorado River or Browns Canyon, close to Buena Vista. And everybody knows I can't swim, but hey, I'll hop in a raft. I mean, I have a life vest on. I'm great. And now I'm having fun, and people are bouncing around. There's a certain spot. You're seeing all these raft boats upside down and things like that. And we weren't on the commercial one. We weren't with a commercial group. We were with our group of friends. We hit that same one. He told us exactly what to do. So I felt good. I mean, I didn't fall out. Of course, I had my foot wedged underneath one of the seats, but hey, that's the story for another day. So anyway, we stop, and there's this area where everybody's like kind of hanging out, swimming in the pool. Again, I can't swim, but I'm hanging out still. And I noticed somebody jumping off a cliff into the water. And I'm like, wait, what's going on? Like, where's this coming from? I saw where they're coming from, and I saw the path to get up top. So I was like, I'm going to go up there. People around me know I don't really like heights either. So it's like, I don't swim, and I don't really care for heights. But for some reason that day, I was like, you know what? I'm going to try this. And I remember standing up there, and I was talking to some guy, and I was like, I'm just going to do it. So I ran to the edge, jumped with my life vest on. Important. And I remember hitting the water. While I went under the water, I saw two lights. One felt like it was Jesus saying, come home. And the other one was like, no, Don, not yet. So I remember getting up. I got out of the water. Friend actually grabbed me, got out of the water. And I was like, man, that was really exhilarating. This is cool. I don't know what I was so afraid of. I'm going to do it again. Picking up there, and I remember some friends were yelling, Don, don't do it. And the other ones were like, Don, do it. So I did it again. And what that taught me was I can just do anything if I put my mind to it. If I say it, and God just blessed me. And I feel like, and I never want to leave him out of this. Like, I feel like from birth, he has equipped me with all these different tools, and it's just up to me to allow those. It's my duty to not hide those tools, to not hide those gifts, not hide that inside of me, and just go out there and try. I would tell myself again, just jump off the cliff and you'll be fine. There are people like Travis Hall and Ingrid Hall around that will grab you out of the water, Lynette's and all those people. And just have a great group of people around you, and jump.
I love that. And knowing you, like, that's a great story. And I could totally picture it. Because that's what you've done.
Oh,
You've just jumped off the cliff multiple times, like figurative and literal now that I know, but that's awesome. Thanks for sharing that. All right. So the last question I want to ask you, we ask everybody. So knowing what we talked about, knowing the podcast is yoked and business and what you're yoked to, what would you say that you are yoked to right now?
Just yoked to knowing that God's for me and that he has just continued to bless me. And no matter what has happened, I can always overcome it. And I have a vision that I have in my mind of where I expect to be and where I'm shooting to be one day, not for myself, but for my family, my girls, my wife, those around me. And it's actually, I feel like a mandate, like it's my duty to go do that. So I'm really yoked to the dream and the vision that God has inside of me. So
love it.
Yeah.
I love that. It's the best thing to be yoked to. If you can only have one, at least in my mind. All right. Lastly, if the audience wants to get in touch with you, wants to somehow connect with you, how do they do that? Where do they find you at?
Oh, they can hit me up on the phone. I'll just find
there
out.
You go. Your phone number's in the show notes.
D.O. Woolfolk Group on Instagram currently. Website coming soon.
Woolfolk Group. Cool.
Yep.
No, that's great.
Yeah, that's where I'm at. And you get all my information from my profile.
Awesome. Well, Don, it was a fun conversation. As always, I love chatting with you, and it's fun that we get to do a podcast together. So I'm sure we'll do it again and chat in detail about some of these deals. But until next time, thanks so much. Have a good one.
Thanks, Travis.
Thank you so much for listening to this week's episode of the Yoked Podcast. We hope you enjoyed it.
And as always, be sure to like, subscribe, and follow along as we drop a new episode each week.